Wormhole just launched their native token at a market cap of $2.5 billion. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. As always, hope you're all having a fantastic day. We're looking at Wormhole today. They just launched their native token with the ticker W, and it certainly was a W for anyone who was part of their huge airdrop. Unfortunately for everyone else, it hasn't been quite as successful. As of their launch, the price is down about 30%, and it has been very volatile as you would expect with any launch of this scale. The thing about running big airdrop campaigns is they're a very successful and cost-effective marketing tool. They start off with a small ad campaign, people see you can get free money, they tell their friends, and it basically markets itself from there. Now the downside of it for everyone who doesn't get in on the airdrop, when a project runs a big airdrop campaign, then they have a very successful ICO and funding rounds like Wormhole did. Then what happens is you end up with a bunch of random people who got $13,000 for doing nothing, and the first thing they're going to want to do is sell, which is obviously going to dump the price right at launch, which we've seen over the last 24 hours. And that's not exclusive to Wormhole. You can see a similar thing happen just recently with Multicoin, which I covered in another video. They ran a huge social fi airdrop campaign and had very successful funding rounds, and then of course as soon as they launched, everyone dumps their airdrops, and the price has been slowly decreasing since then. So while it might look good on paper to launch with all this attention and this really high market cap, the disadvantage is that your chart then looks like this, and everyone who buys after the launch hates you. What I think also contributed to the dump is that Coinbase announced they were going to launch perpetual futures trading for Wormhole, which sounds bullish, but ironically people sold the news and have been shorting Wormhole since then. If we have a look at the perpetual futures markets for Wormhole here, you can see Binance the highest as you'd expect with $401 million. But then the next exchange on the list is King with $138 million 24-hour trading volume. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd never even heard of King until I saw that. And that's despite their website, which looks shady at best, claiming that they have 1.2 billion registered users and $300 billion 72-hour trading volume, in spite of the fact that they can't even run a simple looping animation properly. I actually think that warrants an entire video of its own, so go ahead and subscribe for that. But that certainly does pose some questions about the authenticity of that trading volume, because it's not even the only exchange with bizarrely high futures volume for Wormhole. If we look back at the list here, there's also Blowfin with $60 million, Flipster with $22 million. Never heard of either of them. You can see all three of these exchanges don't even have reserve data available on CMC, yet they've had higher trading volume than exchanges that people have actually heard of, like BingX, Bybit, BitGet, MEXC, Gate.io. Now I'm just speculating here, but that's not really adding up to me. If anyone has a feasible explanation for that, feel free to let me know in the comments, and while you're down in the comments, go ahead and join my free Telegram group, which is linked in the pinned comment, and we can go ahead and discuss it. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, Wormhole is essentially a protocol that's designed to connect different blockchains and make them interoperable with each other. Because the massive problem with blockchains at the moment is they are all inherently incompatible with each other. So Wormhole is basically a completely decentralized bridge between all of the major networks. They describe it on their own website as secure messaging for Web3, and they seem to be really focused on privacy and security, which is obviously why they were hacked for $320 million 2 years ago, but we'll gloss over that. Anyway, the main thing you are all probably wondering about, what are the price targets for Wormhole? Let's have a look at the charts. Now, I have said let's look at the charts, but the reality is that the chart looks like this, and you can't exactly do much technical analysis on a chart that is 2 days old. You can see where we initially launched there, all the way up at $1.85. We are now obviously all the way down here at 95 cents roughly, and it does certainly look like we are going to continue on this downward trajectory for now. If you really wanted to try it at a stretch, you could maybe argue there was a downtrending line here that we sort of might have broken out of. But again, I really wouldn't put much stock in that at this point, because as I mentioned earlier, with all the people claiming their airdrops, there are still a load of people selling. So to be honest, I would expect the price to continue downwards for a little bit here before most likely leveling out somewhere and consolidating for a bit. I would say normal rules do still apply to some extent if we were looking for price targets. If we were looking for support levels, we would want to be looking for nice whole numbers for the psychological milestones, like down here at 90 cent, 80 cent, 70, 60, 50. All those places are going to be your natural support zones on a token that doesn't have any historical price action yet. If we were to reverse, again, the same rule applies. You would be looking at your psychological targets like $1, $1.25, $1.50, the launch price at $1.85, then up to $2. But again, while we're in the early stages like this, any price targets are just highly speculative. We really need to wait until we consolidate in one particular area for a little bit longer before we can start making any major predictions, especially for the long term until we know the fair market value. That's all for now, folks. Feel free to check out some of these other videos here. Go ahead and subscribe, like, turn notifications on, and join the free Telegram group in the pinned comment. I've been me, you've been you. Thanks for watching, and see you later.